Hi, I'm Loretta Carraro, and I am the creator of Nourished Energy. I teach about Reiki and crystal healing, and it wasn't until I learned myself about energy and energy healing that I really understood what that missing piece is when it comes to manifesting an abundance. And that's what I wanted to share with you today. A little bit about the foundations and how, by understanding how energy works, you can start to bring that into your practices of being more abundant and also helping you to manifest a life of your dreams. So let's get stuck into it. So, firstly, I'm going to teach you a little bit about energetics. What is energy and how does it even work? So, first of all, energy is basically over 99% of this entire universe. And it can be a really difficult concept for us to understand in the Western world because this concept is only new to science. It's probably just over 100 years old. A lot of ancient practices and traditions have known about this stuff for a very long time, for much more, for so many more centuries than we have. But scientists, it's new to science in the world of science. So if you find it difficult to grasp that concept, you are so not alone. But I want you to think about it in this way. The idea is that you don't need to see everything in order for it to be evidence, and you don't need to feel anything or for it to be something that you can absolutely touch in order for it to be real. Energy is something that is just everywhere and within us all. It is the matter part of an atom, which is very, very small part of an atom. As I said before, just over 99% of an atom of the universe is actually energy, is nothing. So understanding energy is actually a really, really important part of understanding just how the universe even works. I want you to do a little practice with me now. So I want you to grab your hands together, your palms together, and rub them as fast as you can. And you can feel some heat. And then slowly, very slowly pulling your palms apart. And if you can feel something in between your palms there, that heat, that vibration, that frequency, that is energy. And you can feel that the energy there is actually moving and you can feel it, right? It's tangible for you. This is just a really nice little practice to help you understand that actually energy is there. And it is something that we can feel and that we can really allow ourselves to understand a little bit more and to be a part of. When you would walk into a room and perhaps you can feel that it isn't maybe the best place to be, or you go into a room and you feel like, oh my God, I can feel the excitement and the energy and this feels like a great place to be in. That again is the difference between energy and how energy can play a big part in helping to, I guess, either make you feel better or worse, right? And it helps really to manipulate or to shift the way your vibration is yourself. So just like how everything else is energy, so are you. And everything is constantly shifting in energy and vibration. Just like you were able to move energy there and make energy move and shift, and you created something between your hands, everything is constantly doing that. It's constantly moving and shifting. And so are you. During the day, you might feel so many different emotions and so many different ways. Sometimes you'll have lots of energy and sometimes you'll feel a bit flat. And sometimes that can happen just within an hour. So I want you just to remember that energy is constantly moving. It's not stagnant and it doesn't stay the same. And this is really important to understand because this is basically the foundation of understanding how energetics works when it comes to manifesting and when it comes to attracting more abundance and having a more abundant energy, an abundant mindset, or an abundance, being able to attract abundance more into your life. Now, the way that energy works is that if something is like it, or if something repels it and is not the same and isn't a match, then those things are not going to attract one another. But if they are like each other, they are going to attract one another. So on a very basic level, if you want more of something, you're going to want to attract more of the thing that you're wanting, right? So let's say, for example, you're on this trajectory and you are trying to get to change your career and get a new job. What you are going to naturally do is try to find people and places and things that are going to help you to get the job that you want. True. For example, you're probably going to seek out in your network who are the types of people who are going to help benefit you to reach what you want, to get that job. You're probably going to apply for jobs that are going to be like the thing that you are wanting. This is just something that we all naturally do. So the energy that you're putting into wanting to attract a job is coming back to you because you're also putting out there, this is what I want. You are seeking those opportunities, and those opportunities come back to you and are being attracted to your energy as well. Hopefully that makes sense. If though there is something in you that is actually afraid to get your dream job, you might be feeling like when you, for example, you are trying to set up appointments, you get a job interview, you get an invitation to a networking event, things like that. And then on the day of the thing, or maybe when you're arriving there, something in you stops you from actually walking in there, or something stops you from being able to be able to go or to contact that person. When that stuff happens, you are no longer putting that energy of what you want out there. Instead, you are resisting it. And you are kind of become like a block for that particular thing. And universe can no longer get through. It's like, oh, I thought we were going this way. And then you've put up this big block and saying, no, I don't want it anymore. So universe is then off. It repels whatever it is that you are wanting that, you don't want anymore. It's no longer trying to attract those things anymore that you were looking for, because you've put up this moment of resistance or a block in some way. Sometimes we know that there is a particular fear, or there is something that is stopping us from, getting what we want. And sometimes we don't know what that thing is. And for some reason, every time we try to get it, we come short, we fall short in some way or another. And we don't always know what the answer is. And it doesn't matter whether you know or you don't know. The reality is that this is where understanding energy and how energy works is really important, and is going to really help you to break through those barriers and to work through that stuff that is stopping you, that is the resistance. Now, how does energy healing actually work with that sort of stuff? The reason why understanding Reiki and crystal healing can really help with that is that it can actually help to clear our energy centers. So because we're all made up of energy, remember, coming back to the beginning, your energy needs to be able to flow freely in order for you to be like operating at your most optimal self, your best self, when you feel like you are your best. When there is that resistance or block, or something is stopping you, there is stagnant energy. There is literally an energetic block within you. Now, energy healing can really help us to work through that and to help the energy to flow freely again. Now, you don't always have to know exactly what that thing is, but the energy healing can help to clear it. And the reason is because when we're working with crystals or when we're doing Reiki energy, those particular healing modalities allow us to get into a state where we are elevated and we're in a higher frequency, a higher energy level, a higher vibration. And remember what I was saying before, like attracts like, and whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, like always attracts like. So if you are not feeling so great, so you're in this lower vibration and you practice some Reiki healing or some crystal healing, when the crystals are cleansed and they're programmed to help work with you at that higher level, the healing modalities are going to lift you up to that level as well. And they help you to also be in this higher state, a higher frequency. So it's like, if you've been flat and not feeling so great, and then a friend comes up to you and says, hey, come out, let's go for a walk, and let's go watch a funny movie, or let's do something that's going to be light and fun for you, or let's go have a spa or something like that. Something that is going to make you feel really, really good. And then that helps to shift your energy. Music does the same thing. What about when you hear a song that you absolutely love, and it doesn't even matter if you were feeling crappy a minute ago, sometimes just blasting that song and having a dance can help elevate your mood. So it's exactly the same thing. Now, the healing itself knows what it needs to do to help elevate your mood, but it also works not just by elevating, but also by clearing the energy that doesn't suit you in that space, that doesn't suit you at your highest expression, in your highest elevated state. Now, when we're in this elevated state, it's so much easier for us to feel like, yeah, we're abundant, we're lucky, we're worthy of the things that we want and need. So you can imagine that by practicing Reiki or crystal healing on a regular basis and doing self practices can really help to elevate our mood, but also to help us be in that beautiful state where we feel like, yes, we're a match now for whatever it is that we are wanting. We're no longer down here. We're no longer resisting what it was that we thought what we thought we wanted. We're no longer blocking it anymore. We're actually becoming a match for what we want. So this is basically one of the key reasons that I absolutely love bringing Reiki and crystal healing practices into, and energy practices in general, into my manifesting and abundance practices. It can really help us to shift that state, that lower vibration that we're in. So hopefully that makes you, helps you to understand in terms of how energy works, but also how energetics can help and how understanding that can help you as well. So the next thing that I'm going to take you through now is really that next part. So we've talked about elevating our energy. Now what do we do? Like, how do we then sustain it, and what action can we take then to sustain that energy? So the first thing to understand now is that once you've kind of coming out of that state, so let's say you are doing your practices and you are actually elevating your state and being in that more abundant state. It's not just what you're doing in those 15, 20 minutes of practices, but it's also what you're doing in your day-to-day life. So remember, I talked about earlier that example of you're making phone calls, you're trying to connect with people who are going to help you get that job, you're applying for the jobs, you're going to events and things like that. You're doing all the things that are going to help you get there. This is a great example of taking the action that you've needed. So playing around in the energy field is one thing, and then driving that same energy into your day-to-day life. So how can we actually now ground and bring that into our action? How can I behave like a person who is getting that job? So I have now elevated my energy and my state to feel like, yes, I am worthy enough. I can do it. So my belief in myself and my ability has been raised. But now, how can I bring that and translate that into my day-to-day, into my actual, day-to-day life, and taking action and behave in a way that is going to attract more of that into my life? Bringing the tangible into it now. So that is really important, is making all of those, taking those steps in terms of the actual behavior and actions. And that question that I just asked before is really good to remember. What would I act like, or what would I do if I was someone who was going to get this job? How would that person behave? Now, the next thing that I'm going to talk about is our thoughts, because sometimes our behavior and our thoughts feel like they're completely out of our control. And I used this example before, that you've made an appointment. Let's use that example. You've made an appointment to have an interview with someone. Maybe the morning of the interview, you get sick. And maybe this is a pattern that keeps happening. Or perhaps you arrive at the place where you're having the interview and you literally feel like you cannot get out of the car. Something is stopping you. Or you get into the interview and you're just not being your best self. You're being, your words are jumbled. You feel really, unworthy. You're not confident. You don't know what's happened, but you can feel like you are sabotaging it in some way. And you just know, this isn't me. This isn't my best self. And this certainly isn't the behavior of someone who knows they're going to get this job. Why do we sabotage things? So this is something that I think a lot of people grapple with and wonder about, like, why, if I wanted something so much, and I'm doing all the things, like, why do I keep sabotaging it myself? And the reason is because, coming back to energetics, there is a part of you that is just still down here. There is a part of you that does not feel like a match for what it is that you want. And remembering with the energy healing, it helps us to bring up all that stagnant energy, all the resistance, all the stuff that's holding us back. It helps to transmute that into becoming energy that is going to help us. Now, this can take time, obviously, because we can't necessarily just quantum leap or, push ourselves up to a state where we become the person that we really want to be, without doing the work, without taking those minimal steps to get to that place first. And the reason is because you are wired for survival. And if something does not feel safe for you, I can guarantee that you are going to do whatever you need to sabotage it, to not have it. And it sounds really weird and confusing, but sometimes reaching our highest expression doesn't feel safe for us, especially if we have lived our whole life in this state where we have not been able to get what we want. We have not been supported. And so we're so used to struggling, for example. We're so used to not having what we want. That energy, that vibration, that frequency feels normal and familiar for us. So it becomes what feels safe for us in a weird way. So we're used to that. Have you ever, for example, tried so hard, struggled so hard, trained so hard for something, and then when you got it, you were like, oh, really? Is that it? Am I there? You're kind of in disbelief. And sometimes it doesn't even feel as good as you thought it was going to feel, or you reached what you wanted and then again you sabotaged it. The reason is because, for that reason, It doesn't feel safe to you, coming back to that point. So when we do things slowly and incrementally, what we're actually doing is expanding our energy to feel safe, so that by the time that we get up there, we're used to it. We've slowly expanded and expanded and expanded. If you think about it like we're blowing up a balloon, so maybe at the moment, you might be acting quite small, you might feel quite small, but slowly, with the more that we tap into the energy of being abundant, the more that is going to feel like it is our normal. It is our new normal. So by the time that we reach that state, and we actually reach it in real life, that is going to feel normal because we've practiced it so often. And this is how energy healing can really help us to tap into that frequency of energetics. So with money, for example, if you are manifesting money, and this happens so often, we hear about people winning Tats Lotto or selling something for a lot of money and then absolutely blowing it and losing the money. They can't hold on to it. They've learned to manifest and receive what they wanted, but then they can't hold it. And that's because, again, it feels unsafe for us to be with that amount of money, that abundance. So we want to gently start to help ourselves feel comfortable and safe with abundance and be able to manifest what it is that we want. So the more that we tap into that energy using Reiki or crystal healing to help elevate us to that state, and again, you can also bring this into your day-to-day. For example, what are some friends or some places I could start going to that, feel like the same energy as what it is that I'm trying to manifest? What feels the same way, in terms of how does it feel when I receive that particular thing? And what are the types of people, places, things that I can start being introduced to, or gently start to get used to, in order to help me get used to the thing that I really, really want. So for example, okay, maybe I haven't got the job that I want yet, but maybe I can just start going to networking events where I could possibly meet people who are going to get me closer to that. That's going to help you get used to that kind of energy. Oh, wow, that person is doing my dream job. I talked to them all night and I was able to really understand who they are, and I was able to be in their vibration, and they helped elevate me as well. And it started to feel really good. And I felt really safe in that frequency. Hopefully that makes sense. And those examples are relatable for you as well. So really having a think about what it is that you're wanting to manifest, and what are possible ways that you might be sabotaging it, and why. What is actually helping you feel safe right now? What feels really familiar and comfortable? And sometimes it's like this, tug of war between, I want to feel safe, but I know what my highest expression really wants. I know what my soul wants, and I want to be able to follow that. So it's just helping the two become a match for each other. Really, that's what it's about. It's helping your soul self, your highest expression, become a match for your human level and where that's at right now. And it will happen. You just need to slowly but surely keep making your way towards that thing that you want. So hopefully that makes sense in terms of how we can use energy and energetics to help you manifest what it is that you want, and help you become a match for the very thing that you are wanting. So not only thinking about how you can behave, but also how you can think. You have total control over your thoughts, even though it doesn't always feel like it. So also thinking about, what would a person who has that kind of job think about? What would they think like? If I am saying to myself, gosh, you're so dumb, or why did you do that, and criticizing myself, would someone who was in that particular role, would they behave that way? You know, how can I come from a place that is instead fear-based, which is scarcity, which is lack, which is separation? How can I leave the fear and move into a place that is love, which is that highest vibration? Reiki is unconditional love. It is unconditional love. It is an abundant source. How can I tap into that more? How can I tap into the crystal healing, the energy of crystals, the crystalline energy, Mother Earth's energy, which is also abundant? How can I tap into that and help myself be in a space that is much more abundant, much more loving, much more open, and it is connected? When we are separate and when we are feeling like we are on our own here, and when we're in lack and scarcity, we're worried, we're afraid. When we're in that space, we're believing that we're alone and that the world is something that is against us. When we shift into a higher vibration and when we're tapping into energy work and energy healing, we're able to understand that actually we're not alone. We are this beautiful, connected being, this magnificent being that is just an expression of divinity, of abundance. And we are connected to everything. So the question then becomes, why wouldn't I be worthy of having what I want? Why not me? Because I am just as worthy as everything else here. And I'm so supported by everything else here. What a beautiful way to finish off this beautiful presentation. I hope that you are able to tap into the energy of abundance a little bit easier now. And if you are interested in learning more about Reiki or crystal healing, please get in touch with me. I am at nourishedenergy.com.au and I teach globally, students all over the world. I also have this beautiful free e-course book, The Energetics of Abundance and Manifesting. So please jump on and receive that for free as well.